It's your boy Dedrian Cologne from House of Rasslin. This is my review for the February 16th episode of AEW Dynamite. Like, share, comment, subscribe to House of Rasslin. But man, this episode of AEW Dynamite started off kind of, you could say, awkward because the whole Cody Rhodes leaving AEW and all this other stuff. But man, this wound up being a really fun show. A lot of story progression going on. I can say there was probably one of their best episodes as far as fluidity throughout the format. It wasn't perfect, but I appreciate it. It's like, okay, makes sense. And it was actually even if you didn't or haven't watched Dynamite in a while, like the way this show flowed, like it made sense. Like you picked up on, okay, this is what's happening, this is what's happening, this is what's happening. That's pretty good for a wrestling show. It started with the CM Punk coming out with he was in the middle of the ring doing his, kneeling down and stuff like that, and he's giving his promo to MJF, basically saying that, I could pick the time, the place, the date, for the match. Long story short, he calls out MJF. MJF, him and him go back and forth. CM Punk has this box, and he opens it up, and it's a dog collar. So we're getting MJF, CM Punk dog collar match at AEW Revolution. That's going to be pretty cool. Just a side note, I do commend AEW for they acknowledged Cody Rhodes where he needed to be acknowledged, and there wasn't any petty shots given to him, which is really cool. Of course, during the Monday Night War era and a little bit after WWE, there would be shots thrown at certain people if they left or, there was some disagreement or anything like that. But I do give them kudos for that. That was pretty classy for them to do that. So from there, you had a recap of Bryan Danielson. What happened, the past couple of weeks with Bryan Danielson and Jon Moxley. Bryan Danielson wants a faction with him, and it's pretty interesting how this is shaping up. Then you go backstage to a Jurassic Park Express with Christian and Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus, and Christian's basically saying, we're going to defend the titles, and apparently, forgive me if I have this all over the place and everything. So apparently there is going to be a triple threat tag team match, but there's going to be a qualifier, like a qualifying match for it at Revolution, or there's going to be a qualifying match basically of tag teams, which is going to be fun. So then we go to the first match, which is Bryan Danielson and Lee Moriarty. This was a very great match to get the crowd into Dynamite. Like I stated before, this Dynamite, when it began, there was like people were into it, but it was just like, oh, Cody's not here. Like you could still feel that, oh, Cody's not here, and man, this is just, oh my God, how do I fathom this? And once this match started and it got flowing, like that weird awkwardness that was starting at the beginning of the show left. And another side note, the opening video package, Cody Rhodes isn't in anymore. They replaced it with Keith Lee. That was pretty cool that they brought Keith Lee. But yeah, this match, this was a very technical match. This was one of those matches that you haven't seen in a while on mainstream TV. And by mainstream TV, I'm talking about TNT, TBS, USA Network, Fox, WWE, like anything like that. You haven't seen a match like this where it was like, okay, we're just going to let them wrestle. There isn't any over the top storyline that we got to keep in theatrics and everything. This was just a good wrestling match, and I enjoyed it. Bryan Danielson really elevated Lee Moriarty. He held his own. It's going to be fun how this plays out. But then afterwards, Bryan Danielson gets on the mic. I want Warriors. We need wrestlers back here and blah, blah, blah. Calls out Jon Moxley. Jon Moxley comes out and basically tells him, like, hey, you know what? Maybe one of the reasons you want me to work with you is because you don't want me to face you. And it's like, ooh. So they don't necessarily say it, but knowing AEW, this is probably going to be another match that we're going to see at AEW Revolution, which that pay-per-view is about to be. That's going to be a crazy card for Revolution if we do get Moxley and Bryan Danielson, man. That's going to be a deep pay-per-view. I'm going to enjoy it because you're going to have the tag team match. You're going to have the face the ladder match. You're going to have, of course, a couple. You're going to have two women's matches. You're going to have Jade Cargill probably, and you're going to have the world title match, which is dope. So it's shaping up to be a really good card. I'm enjoying it. From then we had Keith Lee. And this was his first promo, and very well. You could tell there was a lot of enthusiasm in him. And, I mean, the brother hasn't been on TV for a while, so it was really good. But long story short, he's just like, hey, I'm going to go in there, I'm going to win it, and then I'm going to get that TNT championship. So I tweeted this. You got Sammy Guevara as the champ, you got Darby Allin, and you have Andrade, which I'm going to get to later. You're going to have Keith Lee. I'm trying to think of who else you're going to have for the TNT championship. So there is a depth of challengers for that TNT championship, or depth of people that are going to go after that championship. That's going to be fun. And I'm looking forward to it because after what happened in the main event tonight, we're going to get some really cool matches. From there, we had Warlow versus Max Caster. Max Caster, oh my God, Anthony Bowen. This team is fun to watch. Oh my goodness, they are so entertaining. The growth that they've made as far as a tag team on AEW is so cool, so refreshing. It's not forced, it's just organic. I've mentioned to several of my friends and colleagues that they remind me of like AEW's version of the New Age Outlaws. You had Road Dogg coming to the ring talking, and you had, Billy Gunn in the back. It's pretty much similar. And man, this was so good. You had Wardlow, who, man, this match, the crowd was eating him up. They were cheering for this brother. They wanted him to win. Of course, Anthony Bowen tried to interfere, and to no prevail, Warlow won, and he gave Max Caster a powerbomb, gave Anthony Bowen a powerbomb, and he annihilated him. And man, when that guy turns on MJF, man, that's going to be sweet. So sweet. From there, we had a backstage segment with Mercedes Martinez and Britt Baker and JB Hader. Britt Baker is basically saying, Mercedes Martinez, you need to do the job. And if you don't get the job done, I'm going to have to take matters into my own hand. And lo and behold, you have Cobra Kai. And I can't remember his name, but you know who he is. Oh my God. I just looked at his name. Forgive me. So you have the actor from Karate Kid, the sensei, that went up against Mr. Miyagi. And I know I'm terrible for this. Forgive me. I know you're going to eat me alive, but it happens. But yeah, he was there. That was pretty cool. They also showed, another side note, they showed Melissa Joan Hart, Sabrina the Teenage Witch, from back in the 90s TV show. She was there in the crowd. So you had this backstage segment with the guy who plays the character of Kraus on Cobra Kai and the Karate Kid trilogy film franchise. Jamie Hayter, Britt Baker, and Mercedes Martinez. So you have this whole thing. So it's like, all right, this is going to be interesting how this plays out. Then we get a promo with Hangman Page and Tony Schiavone. And again, this was another interesting thing. Now, mind you, through this point of the show, if you're watching this review, you can tell, like, man, this was a very, like, boom, 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 boom. Like, it went into another story, another story, another story, another story. And it was just so fluid how it entwined and everything and how it flowed. So, yeah, you get Hangman Page out with Tony Schiavone, and they're starting the interview, and Adam Cole comes out. And I like this interaction because they bring up the history of the Bullet Club. Hangman Page basically tells Adam Cole, you know, how does it feel being left out when your friend started the most, exciting wrestling promotion? It's like, ooh. And, they mention the Bullet Club again. So that's interesting. That is interesting that they keep mentioning the Bullet Club, and we're going to hear that again with a promo in the night by Jay White. It's interesting where this is going to go. Hangman Page, he leaves, or he's talking to Adam Cole. Adam Cole's like, hey, whatever happens, best man wins, blah, blah, blah. Leaves the ring. Out comes Red Dragon, Kyle O'Reilly, Bobby Fish. They're back. They beat up Hangman Page. Adam Cole comes in. He starts beating up Hangman Page. And then the Dark Order, who we haven't seen for a while, come out. They start interacting, and all of a sudden everybody's, separating each other. And then -10, or is that -10 or 10 or whatever his name is? 10, he just starts beating up security. And it's going to be interesting. So I believe next week we're going to get Adam Cole versus 10. Either on Rampage, or either this Rampage or next week's Dynamite. Forgive me. And that's something that I wish AEW would kind of like organize and structure a little bit better when they make these match announcements, because it seems like they're announcing matches for Rampage, the next Dynamite, the next Rampage. So it's like they're announcing 3 events in one, which I wish they would like kind of do a better job of. But yeah, that was a really cool segment. Again, I am fascinated with where this whole Adam Cole, like the whole Adam Cole storyline is so interesting, because it's like you have 3 different entities vying for his attention, and it's interesting, and it's intriguing, it's entertaining. It's like, how does this play out? But we'll see where it goes. So from there, we get the match that many people wanted. I know I wanted. And if you watch my reviews, you know how much I am a fan of Santana and Ortiz. We get Santana Ortiz versus Jake Hager and Chris Jericho. And I do want to say this. Sammy, Santana, and Ortiz, of course, a lot of people want them, to, just be done with the Inner Circle. After seeing Jake Hager in the shape that he's in tonight, he needs to leave Jericho and go with Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page, because he was in phenomenal shape. It seems like the oddball in this match was Chris Jericho. Like, everyone else should be doing stuff, and Chris Jericho is still trying to keep the Inner Circle. And it's like, no, it's time for it to be done. This was a pretty cool match. I didn't like the fact that Jericho kicked out of, I believe, Santana's finishing move. Cool thing was before this match started, Eddie Kingston came out, and I think he had one of the loudest pops of the night. Like, he had a huge ovation, and he's there at ringside, and Jericho had Santana in the walls of Jericho, and he, like, when that happened, I was like, oh damn, Jericho and Hager are gonna win. Damn it. But no, they didn't. Thank God. As Jericho has Santana in the walls of Jericho, Eddie Kingston just cheering him on. Come on. And Santana's fighting, and then boom, he gets the rope. Jericho tries to do the lion salt. Ortiz catches him. Santana does his the neck breaker. They do a couple more moves, and then Santana pins Jericho. This is dope. So Santana and Ortiz defeat Jericho and Hager. Eddie Kingston's with them. I'm sorry. I like this. I like where they're going. This is going to be fun. This is going to be cool. Man, this is fun. Seeing Eddie Kingston, Santana Ortiz, and those guys together. Man, I want to keep this review short, but man, the way everything is shaping up for Revolution, but beyond Revolution, man, we're gonna get a very exciting AEW pretty soon. And it's not to take away Cody Rhodes and what he's done. I mean, he practically, he was the founder of AEW, but considering his storylines in the last year that kind of screwed up the pacing for several Dynamites, like AEW is gonna have some storylines and some characters are gonna be like, whoa, this is fun to watch. But yeah, this was a really cool match. Backstage, you have a segment with the Super Click, Adam Cole, the Young Bucks, Red Dragon, and you have Cutler, and they're basically talking about the tag team three-way where they advance to fight for the belts at AEW Revolution, and the Bucks and Red Dragon are going back and forth with this, like, no, well, if we win, you can get number two, and going back and forth, and the Bucks and Red Dragon leave, and you see Adam Cole like trying to decide which way he goes, and Brandon Cutler like, so Adam, where you going? It's like, shut up, Brandon. That was funny. That was hilarious. I enjoyed that. Again, this is interesting where Adam Cole is going, and let me tell you, Adam Cole, since he's debuted in AEW, has the biggest pop in AEW, and I enjoy Hangman Page, but you got to go with the guy that's getting the biggest pop. Like, you put the title on him, that's where it's at. From there, we had the match between Thunder Rosa and Mercedes Martinez. Kudos to these women. These women were dope. This was a very physical match, gritty match, but a fun match. It wasn't perfect. It didn't look too, there are certain things like, but again, this is pro wrestling. If you ain't been in the ring, you can't really criticize it, to be honest. But yeah, this was a really cool match. They laid in. There was a table spot where Mercedes Martinez was suplexing Thunder Rosa from the ring apron onto the table, and like Thunder Rosa got the bottom part. It's like, ooh, damn. But man, they were hitting they were hitting every chairs, garbage lids, all that. They were just beating and everything. And finally, Thunder Rosa did her finishing move on Mercedes Martinez. She pins her. Thunder Rosa won. And what was kind of interesting, Thunder Rosa showed Mercedes Martinez a little bit of respect, and she's shaking her hand and everything. And Mercedes Martinez, kind of like was like taken aback from it. And then we get Britt Baker, Jamie Hayter, and Rebel. They come in. They just start beating up Thunder Rosa. They just start bam, 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 bam. They just start beating them up, and then they beat up Mercedes Martinez. They beat up both of them. So apparently, we're going to get a Thunder Rosa Mercedes Martinez alliance, which is dope. I kind of wish that they would do something with Mercedes Martinez and Diamante. I wish they would do something with Diamante with LAX, which should happen. Like, it's already should have been happening. But yeah, it's pretty. I like what they did with this women's match to progress a story, but add another element to the story, which they really haven't done with a lot of the women's matches, which is like, I wish you would do. But hey, it's a start. This was fun. From there, we get a backstage segment, or actually a backstage video from the House of Black. And this is one of those reviews, especially this segment. You guys know, if you watch my videos, I always do this. This is a review, or no, this video. I don't do it justice. You need to just watch it. Basically, Malachi Black's playing his cards and everything, and Brody King's there, and he looks at this card, and he's like, okay, judgment. Brody King's look. So when are we expecting them? And Malachi Black, the shot you get a shot of his face, and he leans up, and the camera kind of like zooms out a little bit, and you see this person walk through, and it's blurry, and you're like, oh my god, is that? And of course, there's been a lot of rumblings that Buddy Matthews, formerly known as Buddy Murphy, is going to AEW. So we're going to get the House of Black with Buddy Murphy, or Buddy Matthews, Malachi Black, and Brody King. Holy crap, is that going to be bonkers. Man, that's going to be amazing. I can't wait for that to happen. From there, we had a promo from Jay White. He dropped the Bullet Club. He dropped, if Kenny Omega stayed in New Japan, AEW would have never existed. It's like, ooh, oh. And of course, he's fighting Trent Beretta on Rampage this Friday. Again, Rampage is going to be 6 p.m. Central. Yeah, 7 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. No, 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central. There you go. It's going to be airing right before the NBA All-Star Weekend on TNT. That's a great card. It's going to be awesome. But yeah, Jay White made all those references, and it's so many. This whole show, the beginning, it wasn't like your normal, ooh, Dynamite, oh man, it's a lot of stuff, but it just like kind of just built and built and built and built and built, which was it was out of the norm, but it was really cool how they did this. And then, of course, the main event, Darby Allin, Sammy Guevara, which to me was the match of the night. These guys showed so much progression. Because the first time they fought was at AEW Revolution in 2020. And to see them come this far in 2 years, man, so dope. You just seen the confidence. You seen the composure that these guys have grown as wrestlers in front of an like, it's there. Like it's like, okay, these guys are the future. Like these guys they're made. And whoo, boy, this was a match. Sammy Guevara Spanish Fly off the top rope was amazing. He did a move where he did a buckle bomb, but like where Sammy bounced off the rope and bounced outside. Sammy Guevara tried to do his slingshot dive through the ropes, and Sammy caught him and did a cutter, which that was bad. Whoo, that was sweet. You had all those moves, and then we get Andrade and his sidekick interfering, and Andrade hits Sammy with his iPad, which I seen some people complain about it, but like that iPad was like that thick, and if anybody who's had a thick iPad or something like that knows, like if you put some force behind it, you can knock somebody, like, especially, and it looks like he had the protector, which, man, those protectors are thick. But yeah, he hits Darby. Sammy does his you could say his GTS, hits Darby with it, pins him 1, 2, 3. Sammy retains the TNT Championship. Andrade, they leave. Then as they're leaving, Matt Hardy comes out. He starts beating up Darby Allin. Sammy comes in, tries to make a save. Andrade comes back. They just start beating each other. Like, so you got Matt Hardy and Andrade beating up Sammy Guevara and Darby Allin. Sting runs them off, and that's the final shot you get of Andrade and Matt Hardy holding up the TNT championships. And that was Dynamite. It was a fun Dynamite. I enjoyed it. You could tell there was, getting used to Cody and Brandy not being there for their first show. That usually happens. It happened when Bret Hart left for WCW when he was at WWF. You could just tell, okay, Bret's not here anymore. All right, we got to work through this. But man, they did a really good job. This was a fun show. It wasn't the perfect show, but I enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to Rampage. I'm looking forward to next week's Dynamite. They really did a very good job of adding to stories and progressing stories, where it's like, okay, I want to see where this goes. They just got to pick up the energy and stuff like that. I know the beginning segment, this was back-to-back weeks of CM Punk and MJF doing promo. the good thing about it was for stakes and it was for something meaningful. That hey, this is setting up what match stipulation they're gonna have at Revolution. But I could see why some people would say it's kind of like WWE Light. WWE has that. It is what it is. But overall, it was a fun show. A lot of cool things. It wasn't like last week's where it was like, ooh, damn, this is good. But yeah, this was a fun show. Stay tuned. This is gonna be fun. Let's see if what happens with Buddy Murphy. If the rumblings are correct as far as Shane Strickland, if he comes, Ember Moon. I mean, everything's gonna be. It's gonna be a fun time in AEW, and of course, in WWE. Let's see what happens with this Cody Rhodes if he's, shows up and everything else. But it is what it is. So this is my review for the February 16th episode of AEW Dynamite. Again, like, share, comment, subscribe, follow to House of Wrestling on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. There you go. You can follow me, Dedrian Cologne, at Dedrian180 on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. Thank you guys so much. Again, this is my review for the AEW Dynamite episode for February 16th. Until next time, stop fighting over wrestling. There you go.